Trade rumors are escalating as a new report reveals a wild move for the Boston Red Sox as Jarren Duran continues to be in many trade rumors, but this one may top them all. We talk about the latest details behind it right here on Red Sox Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you hanging out with me and tuning into today's show. If you are not subscribed and looking for coverage of the Boston Red Sox throughout the entirety of the 2025-26 MLB offseason and trades for Jarren Duran, re-signing Alex Bregman, everything in between, we've got you covered, so go down there, hit that subscribe button, 100% free. Jarren Duran has been the talk of the town for the Boston Red Sox alongside Alex Bregman as to be the most important move of the offseason. Do they keep him? Do they trade him? Well, it seems as though the latter is more likely as we continuously get reports that the Red Sox are listening to offers for outfielder Jarren Duran and will move him for the right corner infielder or starting pitcher, end quote. This is where the intriguing factor comes in because there's been reports that San Diego has really liked Jarren Duran. Kansas City has now kind of jumped into this mix and been a potential team to come out and make a move. Overall, though, if you have to ask me, I think a lot of teams in the West Coast are going to make moves for him for a couple of different reasons. One, because, well, guess what? He's from that area. But also, I find it funny that a lot of the teams in the West Coast are willing to spend. And none other than the Dodgers are the biggest spenders of them all, as they have been named a blockbuster trade fit for the Red Sox $7.7 million All-Star, of course, Jarren Duran. Now, before we get too far into this, let's talk about why Jarren Duran in California makes the most sense. First of all, he was born in Corona, California. It's not really, but I'm going to call it a suburb of Los Angeles. It's just outside the city. It is in California, though, obviously, and in a very close proximity to actually Los Angeles. On top of that, he went to Long Beach State, which is right next to Los Angeles once again. He is a West Coast boy. Whenever he goes to play the Angels, whenever we went to play the Dodgers or the Padres, he always had family. He always had people coming over. He always would have his apartment. I mean, that's where he lived in the offseason, I'm pretty positive. So it just kind of makes sense that if it were Jarren Duran's choice, he would ask to be traded to a West Coast team. Now, this is not Jarren Duran's choice. This is what is best for the Boston Red Sox. Personally, I would love to keep Jarren Duran. I have always loved him as a player, and I would argue that he is one of my favorite Red Sox on the team right now. However, that doesn't look likely, so we have to look as to, okay, what's the positive? And that's where we kind of look to, what can we get for him? Now, Jarren Duran did not have a tremendous season this past year. It was a .332 on base and 620 ABs. He had 159 hits. He did strike out 169 times, though. He struggled a lot more than what we expected after his All-Star MVP. You kind of expected that out of him, and it just wasn't the same. His doubles, his triples were still there, had an inside-the-park home run. He's an electric player, and for a lot of intensive purposes, is the guy that you want to have on your team. But the Red Sox really need him. Not really. Not really. Their outfield, I think, in its best form is probably with Sedano in center, Roman in left or right, and Wilyer in there as well. I love Jarren Duran. I think you could argue that Wilyer is not as good as him, is not as valuable, and I wouldn't say you're wrong, but I would also just be like, okay, well, Jarren Duran at the top of the order. Jarren Duran's when he can get hot, it kind of seems like that's the team goes. But let's go to the report, kind of talk about it here. Jackson Roberts of Red Sox SI saying, quote, on Saturday, Connor Roche of Boston.com named the Dodgers among a group of prospective trade suitors for Duran, who is the consensus pick these days for most likely Red Sox outfielder on the move, end quote. We know the Red Sox are going to move an outfielder. It's going to be either Duran or going to be Wilyer Abreu. Let's go to what Connor Roche had to say. Quote, the Dodgers need some outfield help as Betts is now a full-time shortstop. They're also rumored to be among the favorites to land Kyle Tucker. So any Duran to Los Angeles deal might have to wait until Tucker picks his new home, end quote. The Dodgers, they're going to be in on every single big prospect. They're going to be in on paying for a high prospective outfielder. Jarren Duran, I think, is probably on the lower totem pole for them. However, looking at it from a Dodgers perspective, or rather a Red Sox perspective, I don't know what they could offer us. Like, there's not many people that I would look at and say, I want that guy. The Dodgers, I want that guy. And I've still got some PTSD from the Mookie Betts trade, from just recently the Dustin May trade that both worked out horrendously for us. And I just don't think we're meant to trade with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Connor Roche finishes off saying, quote, "There aren't many players on the Dodgers' 40-man roster that would make sense to give up for Duran while also filling a need for the Red Sox. Second baseman Ha-Seong Kim would be a positional fit, but would the Dodgers want to give up on the 26-year-old after his rookie season?" End quote. I look at this and say a couple of different things. Even if Ha-Seong Kim was who I wanted, I really don't believe that is something that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, great move for Jarren Duran. We were looking for a corner infielder and a pitcher, and we got a second baseman and center fielder. Good job, guys. No, I don't want that. He would fill a need in some aspects because the second base position is in a weird spot, but I would rather have a pitcher. And so that's where we go and look at their starters, the rotation guys. They're not going to give us Blake Snell. They're not going to give us Yoshinobu. They're not going to give us Glasnow or Shohei. River Ryan, okay, interesting name, prospect, very good guy. I think I could be a pretty good fit. Gavin Stone, maybe. They're not going to give us Roki, and they do have a weird affirmation for Emmett Sheehan as well, so I don't believe that is a possibility either. When we go to kind of the expectation of who could trade, who could be, Robleski and River Ryan are the names that came up. Quote, "Justin Robleski and River Ryan would be enticing names for the Red Sox to pursue if they don't have too much scar tissue built up from the failed Dustin May deal at this year's trade deadline." End quote. I'd argue that forget the scar tissue from this year. How about the scar tissue from my entire life watching Mookie Betts be one of the best players of all time, not on my baseball team? It's frustrating, but I do like Justin Robleski a lot. I think he's actually a very good pitcher and would not be upset to see him on my staff. A 1.23 whip, ERA, not the most fantastic at 4.32 in 24 games, but I also, watching him in the World Series, he was built for the high moment. He hit Andres Jimenez and then started yelling at him, so I really do kind of like his vibe and overall presence. Also, I'll put this out there just to make myself as unbiased as possible. Justin Robleski did go to Oklahoma State. I went to Oklahoma State for college, so there is a bit of bias there that I would really like to have an Oklahoma State pitcher on my staff. Not for trading away Jarren Duran, but if you really want to go big time, River Ryan is a very good prospect. In his major league career, he has 1 win, 0 losses with a 1.33 earned run average. Not like he's played in a short amount of games. In 4 games is a decent amount, and he started 4 games. So overall, this guy has some positives to look at. His whip at a 1.18 is also very good. Obviously, they can go and look at his minor league stats. They're all very good. His career, 3.22, but in terms of 2024, 1.33 in the MLB, 2.22 in the MILB in 2024. So very good perspective pitcher. I think would fit well with the Boston Red Sox. But at the end of the day, I really do think it comes down to, with Jarren Duran, what's the value you put on him? Are you willing to trade him away for what is most likely going to be maybe someone you use, maybe someone you don't? I don't know. Like River Ryan, it's all prospective guys. If I'm trading Jarren Duran, I want someone who's going to help me right away. I want someone who is going to be a person that will jump into this roster and help the Red Sox win. And I don't know that I can contend and sit here and say trading Jarren Duran for River Ryan is exactly what I thought, or Justin Robleski. No. So maybe the Dodgers like Jarren Duran. Maybe Jarren Duran likes the Dodgers. Doesn't matter. I don't think the deal goes through because ultimately there is better prices out there. And for how much Jarren Duran is actually valued across the league, this would be probably one of the lesser packages I would take. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, though. Do you like River Ryan? Is there a different trade for the Dodgers you'd rather maybe try and offer? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time here on Red Sox Digest. Peace out, guys.